Yo, welcome to another episode of Invest in You. Now that you've seen that video of diversifying your portfolio, in this video, we'll be talking about EasyProperties, a way of even further diversifying your portfolio, of getting into a market that previously was very inaccessible to your average investor when you're broke and you don't have a lot of cash, like this guy, So now this guy has property. I know in the old days that used to mean you have dang cash. Now I can have property with 100 Rand. How? Stick around. In this video I'll be telling you exactly. Okay, so Purple Group is changing the game again. They are allowing average investors to get in on a market previously very exclusive to certain type of people with big pockets of money. So what is EasyProperties? EasyProperties is like EasyEquities, but now just dedicated directly to properties. It's like owning a REIT, a real estate investment trust, but now you are in control, you get more money out of it, and it's a lot easier to understand. So what EasyProperties does pretty much it's the same as fractional shares that you buy on EasyEquities. So EasyProperties, what they do is they buy properties and then they create shares to the equivalent amount of that property. So let's say a share is 1 Rand and the property is, let's say, 1,000 Rand, then there's 1,000 shares available for people to buy. And it's the same process as fractional share rights. Now, what they do is EasyProperties goes out, they list these properties, and then you can have the option of either buying a 10% stake in it, or 100% stake in it, or even like a 0.001% stake in it. And one of the great things about EasyProperties is it gives you access to the private property market. The private property market are assets that was unheard of to be owned by individual investors. Usually only your institutional investors gets to get that, or your large REIT companies have shares in that. And the great thing about EasyProperties is your portfolio or your assets are managed by professionals and you pay them barely anything to do that. So how EasyProperties works is you buy these shares in these properties, and then of those properties, they get tenanted out, meaning people rent to stay there. And then that rental income comes back to you, the shareholder. Now, what they do is they take 15% of that rental income to look after like damages, repairs, or water, electricity, all those things, right? And then that other 85% comes back to you in the form of dividends. Now, at the moment, they are looking at doing quarterly dividends. But the great thing about this is, so normally if you invest into a REIT by law is required to pay about 75% of its earnings back to you, the investor, in dividends. Now, in this form, you get 85% of money back. And this is the crazy thing, guys. So think about it. Normally when you buy a property, you have to go through all the legal stuff. You have to get insurance. You have to, if you have a bad tenant, you have to go sort out the bad word stuff that they cause to your property. If a geyser bursts, you have to go fix it, okay? If you don't have a tenant staying there, you have to go look for a tenant. Everything you have to do if you buy a physical property. But now what EasyProperties did is they said, okay, let us do the work for you, and all you have to do is sit back and get money. This sounds oddly too good to be true, but it is, and that is the crazy part behind it. You get to own property, not have to do with all the hassles. They get insurance for you. Yes, your properties are insured and you don't pay extra for that. They will never ask you for extra money. Like, you just have these property and you just sit back, get the dividends from rent income, and that's it. And one of the other great advantages about this, which I really love compared to, because then you can ask me, but then why not just buy a REIT? So the big thing with a REIT is they own a large and a very diversified amount of properties. But then look at the COVID pandemic. If a REIT has a lot of office blocks, they are definitely struggling right now because office blocks are going empty, retail shops are going empty. So all that rent revenue is going lost. Now with EasyProperties, you are in charge of what your portfolio looks like. So at the moment, most of the properties are only dedicated to residential because those are the properties that are doing very, very well right now. So you can decide what properties you want in your portfolio, whether you want an office, two flats, one big estate, you can go crazy, but you are in control. Where if you had to own a REIT, you don't have much control. And also, it's very difficult to keep track of actually which properties they own. Because a lot of REITs have like properties in Australia, England, South Africa, and then just a ton of them, So now you are in control. How do you make money through EasyProperties? So you give them the money, you get shares out of it. And your shares grow in capital gains, just like any other investment, and you get rental income back in the form of dividends. So evidently what you're doing is you're buying a growth and a dividend stock together, which is amazing. All the properties that so far has been listed on this platform are properties that are newly built, properties that are being moved into now. So that means, for instance, if you buy into the Blight, which is a very, very nice estate, those properties are still going to grow a lot in value because they are new, they are fresh, there's still expansion space in the estate, and you can just grow off that and you get rental income. Like, how crazy is that? And think about this, be clever. So you invest into these properties, okay? Now let's say you invest into the Rockefeller in Cape Town. Now you go and visit Cape Town. Where do you stay? You stay in the Rockefeller. So you're paying rent to stay in Cape Town, and then later that rent is coming right back at you. Because yes, you can rent out these properties on the platform. So let me just say this again. You rent, so you invest, you give money to get a property. Then you go live there and pay rent, meaning you're technically paying yourself. So it's like me giving you some cash dollar and being like, just hold that for like a month, and then later you send it back to me and be like, oh, here's your money back and also capital gains. Like, that is a very good deal, okay? So it is amazing. EasyProperties is changing the game once again. And yes, it's still very new, so everyone's testing it out, everyone's testing the waters, but all their IPOs, so when I say IPOs, it's just new listings that's gone up, they have all been bought out. So how it works is once they list a company, they have a target value. So you'll see there's like a progress bar at the bottom. So if they don't reach that and you've invested 400 Rand, you're going to get your 400 Rand back to you. So it's not just wasted or going gone. And that is pretty much Encroc's EasyProperties. I mean, I can go into depth into explaining to you exactly what everything is, but we'll get to that. Don't you stress. But all I want for you now is understand the concept of EasyProperties. Go have a look at EasyProperties, and please remember, this is not a short-term investment. If you're gonna put money into EasyProperties, properties are meant to be held for long, okay? But now I would say look at about 5 to 10 years for a good amount of gains and return on your investment. But again, the nice thing about this is, let's say now you did own a physical brick and mortar place. If you want to get rid of that, you have to go through the process of selling it, getting a lawyer, getting someone willing to buy, to pay your price. Where now you have shares in a property that you can just one day sell to someone else. So you don't have to go through the whole process of selling an entire building at a very expensive price. Okay, amazing. Yes, I know. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, drop them down and I'll answer them in a follow-up video. But yeah, thank you very much, guys.